Hello friends, I am Dr. Ankit Goyal, consultant psychiatrist and a faculty for psychiatry. Today in this video we are going to discuss AIIMS November 2019 psychiatry recall questions. So let us discuss with the first question. Now the first question is the extended matching type question, a new pattern of question asked in AIIMS. So the case 1 in this is person is having high blood pressure, tachycardia, visual and auditory hallucination, tremors, disorientation to time, sweating and hepatomegaly. So you've been asked that these are withdrawal symptoms of, and you are given a number of options. So the correct answer out of these options is option C, that is these are alcohol withdrawal symptoms. So let us discuss briefly what are alcohol withdrawal symptoms. So generally whenever a person stops or reduces amount of alcohol, which is generally sudden reduce or sudden stoppage, then there are some withdrawal symptoms. The first important withdrawal symptom which may occur generally occurs within 6 to 8 hours of stopping or reducing the alcohol, which is generally tremors or tremulousness, also known as shakes or jitters. If this withdrawal phase continues, so in the next 8 to 12 hours there is high propensity patient may have psychotic or perceptual symptoms or alcoholic hallucinosis. Patient may have auditory hallucinations and visual hallucinations may be seen. Now, if this withdrawal phase continues and it is a severe withdrawal phase, then patient may also have seizures. Now, seizures in alcohol withdrawal are generally generalized tonic-clonic seizures. Important to remember, and these are also sometimes known as rum fits. And if the withdrawal phase again continues, and as I'm saying, if it is severe withdrawal, patient may land up into delirium tremens. Now, delirium tremens is a severe form of alcohol withdrawal and it is a medical emergency. So these are some of the important alcohol withdrawal symptoms. Now the next extended matching type case 2 is the person comes to you with complaints of diarrhea, yawning, high fever, piloerection, diaphoresis, rhinorrhea and mydriasis. So you've been asked that these are withdrawal symptoms of which substance. So here the correct answer is option D, that is heroin. So these are basically opioid withdrawal symptoms. Now let us discuss briefly what are the opioid withdrawal symptoms. So these are generally said to be flu-like syndrome, where patient may complain of severe muscle cramps, bone aches, there may be abdominal cramps. Now you can also remember by this simple technique that there is leaking of the body orifices. So there is leaking of the body orifices or the body outlets. So there is profuse diarrhea, there may be rhinorrhea or running nose, there may be lacrimation, tearing eyes and there may be sweating as well as present. Patient may also complain of piloerection or goose flesh. There may be excessive yawning seen. Patient may complain of insomnia. Very important. There may be pupillary dilatation or mydriasis. Very important sign for opioid withdrawal. Again, patient may also have hypertension, tachycardia or temperature dysregulation. So these are important opioid withdrawal symptoms. Now the next question. The Z technique is used for which of the following? Options are A. Monitoring of carbamazepine therapy, administration of antipsychotic depot, administration of nicotine patches or monitoring of lithium therapy. The correct answer is that Z technique is used for administration of antipsychotic depots. Now, what is Z technique? Z technique is a type of intramuscular injection technique which is used to prevent the leakage of the drug into the surrounding tissue. So basically whenever we insert a needle and we pull it out, there is a small track which is formed and there may be leakage of the drug from this track. So to prevent this leakage we use Z technique. So what happens is that we pull the skin backwards and the injection is inserted. Now when you pull back the injection, there is a track which is left, a Z-shaped track, because of which this technique gets its name. Now this Z track will prevent the drug to leak from muscle to the surrounding tissue. So this is the Z technique which is used for antipsychotic depot injections. So important. Next question, question 4. Like other opioids, tramadol, so we're talking about tramadol, acts on the mu opioid receptor for analgesic action. Which of the following is its additional mechanism of action? So the options are A, it is anticholinergic, B, serotonin and dopamine reuptake inhibition, C, serotonin and noradrenaline reuptake inhibition, D, antihistaminic. So the additional mechanism of action of tramadol is option C, that is it is a serotonin and noradrenaline reuptake inhibition. Now, tramadol is a centrally acting analgesic with the mechanism of action being it's a weak mu receptor agonist. It also blocks, or it is a blockade of serotonin reuptake is seen. It also inhibits norepinephrine transport function. Now, few important points about the side effect or the adversities. So the toxicity includes association with seizure. So tramadol is associated with seizure, and it is relatively contraindicated in patients with a history of epilepsy, and also for use with other drugs that lower the seizure threshold. So there are certain drugs that lower the seizure threshold, drugs like, let us say, clozapine. So it should not be used concomitantly with such drugs. Another serious risk is development of serotonin syndrome. Now, especially if it is a SSRI or drugs which increases the serotonin level, which are administered together. So again, it should be avoided, or these things should be taken into consideration. Next question, a patient who is an alcoholic which of the following can cause delirium tremens? So you've been asked that an alcoholic patient, what may be the factors which may cause delirium tremens? Options are A, gradual withdrawal from alcohol, B, small consumption of alcohol, C, fatty liver, and D, acute infection. So the correct answer is option D, that is acute infection. Now, as we have discussed, delirium tremens is a most severe form of withdrawal syndrome, and it is a medical emergency. Why we say so? Because if untreated, delirium tremens has a mortality rate of 20%, very high. So it's a medical emergency. Now, generally, episodes of delirium tremens usually begin in patients who have consumed alcohol for years together, maybe 5 to 15 years of heavy drinking, and they've suddenly stopped. So please remember, it is sudden stoppage or sudden reduction of amount of alcohol which causes this. So it is not gradual stoppage. Also, very important to understand is that whenever a person has delirium tremens, it could also be because of a concomitant cause. So along with alcohol withdrawal, patient may be having some other cause, like for example infections, like for example there may be electrolyte imbalance, which can also aggravate or precipitate delirium tremens. So in the treatment we try to rule out those causes, and also if found we try to treat them. So physical illnesses like pancreatitis, hepatitis may predispose a person to delirium tremens who is having withdrawing the alcohol, which can, and these can precipitate delirium tremens. So very important. Next question. A young girl is hospitalized with anorexia nervosa, is on treatment. Even after giving adequate food as per the recommendation for past 1 week, she is showing no weight gain. What should be the next step? So options are: increase the dose of anxiolytic, B, increase fluid intake, C, increase calorie intake from 1500 kilocalorie to 2000 kilocalorie, option D, observe the patient for 2 hours after meal. Now, important points to understand is that the girl is having anorexia nervosa and is being treated in a hospital. So it's a hospital setting. Now, and there is, even after recommended dose, there is no weight gain. So they're asking what is the next step. So the correct answer is option D. We should observe the patient for 2 hours after meal. Now let us discuss the treatment. So the primary treatment goal in a person with anorexia nervosa is nutritional rehabilitation and weight restoration, which can be achieved at any level of care, maybe in OPD setting or maybe in a IPD setting. Now then, what are the indications which would suggest that the patient may be admitted or we are treating as inpatient? So there may be various factors. For example, if the person is not able to achieve weight gain in the outpatient setting, who are 20% below the expected weight for their height, again these may be indications for admission. Patient whose behavior symptoms are severe, which require continuous monitoring, supervision and care. Patient may have serious medical complication. Now in anorexia nervosa, it's like a starvation It's like a physiological starvation in which there may be many complications. So again, serious medical complication, we may need to admit the patient. And again, yes, suicidal ideation, if there are any, or any suicidal behavior, that again may be an indication for admission and treatment. Now, when we treat the patient, generally we start with a calorie between 1500 to 1800 kilocalorie per day, which is consumed across 3 to 4 supervised meals and snacks. Now, generally we start with this because we have seen that if we give more calories in less duration, there may be a very important complication known as refeeding syndrome. So there may be refeeding syndrome if we start with even higher calories. So initially we give a patient a total of 1500 to 1800 kilocalorie per day. And gradually if we see that the patient is medically stable on this, then we start increasing the kilocalorie. Ultimately the aim is to give that patient 3500 to 4000 kilocalories per day. So this is the target which we would want to achieve in a successive months or successive weeks. So generally we start with this. Now also we should weigh the patient daily. Early in the morning after emptying the bladder, weight should be taken. Also daily fluid intake and urine output should also be recorded. Now, because food is often regurgitated after meals, so these patients, even with anorexia nervosa, patient may vomit out because the patient is not convinced probably that I should be given this food, because there is a lot of concern about the body image. So this may be a case. So as we go back to the question which was asked, so again the patient may be regurgitating or may be vomiting out, or induced vomiting may be done after meals to prevent the weight gain. So what needs to be done is that the staff may be able to control the vomiting by either making the bathroom inaccessible for at least 2 hours after meals, or you can have an attendant to prevent the opportunity of vomiting. So basically what you're doing is you're observing the patient for any purging or any regurgitation in the next 2 hours after the meals. So that is why in question, since the patient was not able to gain weight in 1 week even after recommended dose, so what we will do is we will see whether it is because of some induced vomiting which the patient may be doing. So this is the first step we should do. Next question, question 7. 11-year-old girl was seen crying in school because her uncle touched her inappropriately. Who should be called first? So the options are A. Police, B. Magistrate, C. Child welfare, or D. Parents. So now the correct answer in this is option A. Police. Now very important act, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, or the POCSO Act 2012. Now this act is very important also because previously as well there had been one question from this act. Now this act is to protect children from offences of sexual assault, sexual harassment and pornography. Now in chapter 5 section 19, in which they've said how to report a case of offences. So basically any person who has apprehension that an offence under this act is likely to be committed or has the knowledge that it is actually committed shall inform. So the first person you should inform is either the Special Juvenile Police Unit or the local police. So basically police is the one which should be informed first. So the answer is police. So these were the important questions, recall based questions which were asked. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe our channel, which will motivate us to put some more such videos.